I'm Chris Berman. Let's get straight to the action. In our first game this week, we had the Steelers come away with a 7-point win. The Eagles won this contest, but will stay at the second place in the NFC East. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Chiefs pick up their 11th win of the year. The Lions drop yet another game and are really struggling on and off the field. David Carr threw for 2 touchdowns and helped his Texans beat the Browns. In the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., we had the Redskins get nipped by 3 points. Buccaneers, Cardinals. Number 13 is calling signals in the red zone at the 16-yard line. And there's a fake handoff going to roll right to throw. No! He goes back the other way. And the defenders were totally bamboozled. Touchdown! The Cardinals go on to win this by the final score of 21-19. Over at Gillette Stadium, we had the Patriots come away with a brutal 18-point victory. The Broncos got 300-plus yards from their offense in their victory at Invesco Field at Mile High. The Panthers lost at home in their final game of the year. The Jaguars won this contest and will now move to first place in the AFC South. The Rams win yet again this week and keep their impressive streak alive. In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Bears win their 14th game of the year. Number 13 threw for over 200 yards and helped his Ravens beat the Dolphins. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. Marquand Manuel will be playing his football elsewhere, though perhaps not for as much as he would have liked. 4 years, $2.7 million. Frank Sanders is on the move as well as he signs a 3-year contract with the Ravens. Jason Simmons is on the move. Perhaps not for all that he thought he'd get, but a good deal nonetheless. 4 years, $1.9 million.
Up in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, the city by the Sound, we had the Seahawks stroll away with a 14-point win. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. Unfortunately, we did have some big injuries this week, but before we get to those, we're going to run down the rest of the NFL. Brett Favre won't see action for a while, and that'll be a big offensive loss for his team. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. Now, on to even bigger news, as you may have already heard. Brian Westbrook said he knew his season was over the second he went down, and indeed, his club will need to find someone to pick up the rushing slack. Now we'll move on to our top story of the day. Michael Vick is going to find himself in street clothes for the time being, and that'll be a major blow to this club. So that'll do it for now. Chris, let's send it back to you.
And in our final game, we had the Cowboys come away victorious.
All right, Chris, thanks. All right, folks, our playoff picture has now been officially finalized. So let's take a look at it now, shall we? We'll begin with a look at the AFC. Meanwhile, over in the NFC, the playoff picture looks like this. So there you have it, the regular season now in the books. Time to see which of these 12 teams will emerge as Super Bowl champs. We'll get it started for you on ESPN next weekend. So that'll do it from here. Boomer, we send it back over to you.
And then there were 12, the playoffs, right around the corner, which means it's time for our regular season awards. But first, my primetime players. The final round of game balls go to these Warriors, each with a standout performance in the final game of the regular season. All right, as promised, here's a look at this year's best of the best, our season-ending NFL awards. Number 13, without a doubt, is going to take home the hardware in this one. You see the numbers on your screen, but numbers really don't tell the whole story. Leadership, work ethic, love of the game, that's what truly makes him stand out. Yeah, without question, the best year of anyone. Chris Berman has got to be our choice for Offensive Player of the Year, and you've got to be hard-pressed to find better numbers than that. Obviously, give a lot of credit to the rest of the offense, but this is the guy that was driving the car, so to speak. Lawyers in Love Malloy gets the nod as our Defensive Player of the Year, and I'll tell you what,
There was no one better at taking quarterbacks and receivers alike completely out of their game. Great season. Number 13 comes away with the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. You know, it's very difficult to come straight from college, be handed the keys to an NFL offense, but he stepped in and did a bang-up job. Watch out. He's only going to get better with age. Carlos Dansby was our Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hard to think of any young linebacker with better instincts for the football than he has. He wins it in a landslide. Thomas Jones ran away with the rushing title this year. Talk about a threat out of the backfield, my friends. Finesse, speed, a surprising amount of power, which he used to bowl over the few who actually managed to lay a finger on him. What a year. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.